Imagine we live in a world where weather conditions are so chaotic that there's such as giant floods, endlessly growing forest fires, and pollution so bad that it creates inhabitable areas. This scary scenario could soon turn into reality if efforts to combat climate change are not being taken. The rapid speed of the climate changing is a direct result of human behavior, and through efforts to reduce global warming, can we preserve the earth and fight global warming? I have dedicated much time and effort into understanding the causes and effects for global warming. Today, I will first discuss the causes for global warming, then I will cover the effects that it has on the earth and the people living on it, and then I will provide ways to combat global warming. Climate change is due to many factors, but one of the largest and most influential being human activity. According to NASA, there's a 95% probability that all human activity in the past 50 years have warmed the planet. Efforts made through everyday human activity have largely resulted in the emission of greenhouse gases. Fossil fuels are widely depended on across the nation, which pose a great threat to the environment as they produce greenhouse gases which warm the Earth's temperature. According to the European Commission, CO2 is the most commonly released greenhouse gas that makes up for 64% of all man-made global warming. Other gases such as methane and nitrous oxide also result in the trapping of the Earth's warmth, which add to the greenhouse effect. The burning of fossil fuels and natural gases for production and transportation purposes pose a great threat on the planet. Human activity that has taken a great toll on the prosperity of the environment is deforestation. Trees act as a CO2 regulator as they absorb CO2 from the air, and once those trees are cut down, all of the CO2 that was contained in it become released. According to the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, the area of primary forest worldwide has decreased by over 80 million hectares since 1990. The increase in livestock also adds to this emission. As many nations depend on livestock as a means of resources, many livestock are being mass-produced. According to the Size Organization, a single cow on average produces between 70 and 120 kilograms of methane per year, and worldwide there are 1.5 billion cattle. Climate change is inevitable, and even without these actions produced by humans. The Earth undergoes orbital changes every 100,000 years that attribute to changing temperatures and extreme weather conditions. Natural rocks and sediment emit greenhouse gases that add to climate change, but these happen at a much slower rate than any human activity could produce. According to the Royal Society, a learned society part of the National Academy for Sciences, long-term climate change over many decades will depend mainly on the total amount of CO2 and other greenhouse gases emitted by human activity. Now that I've gone over some of the causes for global warming, let's examine their exact effects on the environment. Global warming has many different effects on the environment. One of the most evident effects for climate change is the extreme weather changes that happen. All over the globe are people faced with devastating forest fires and heat waves, floods, droughts, and more. Summers are increasingly becoming hotter, with winters becoming colder each year. According to NASA, by the end of the century, it would have been once in 20-year extreme day heats or one-day events are projected to occur every 2 or 3 years over most of the nation. The intensity of weather conditions will continue to persist if efforts are not being taken. As the Earth becomes hotter, the ice caps and glaciers and large land masses become to melt, which result in the sea level to rise. NASA states that the global sea level has risen about 8 inches since reliable record keeping began in 1880 and is projected to rise another 1 to 8 feet by 2100. As the sea level rises, it adds to storm surges and giant high tides, which can result in massive floodings at rapid rates. In areas with heavy snowfall, it can be assumed that one day it will no longer snow and all the ice will be melted away. As the Royal Society states, since 1900, the global average surface temperature has increased by 1 degree Celsius or 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit. Climate change also causes a scarcity in resources and poses a great threat to agriculture and ecosystem. As extreme weather conditions persist, life can be faced with water shortages. When faced with drought, not only are humans being directly affected by this, but so are the means for natural resources. Water shortages mean less water for humans and all living things humans consume for their diet, from plant life to livestock. Animals faced with harsh weather conditions have their resources and habitats in great danger. Changing ecosystems can result in a chain reaction as each animal or living organism in that plays a critical role in their life cycle. Understanding the aversive effects of climate change can motivate you to take action to combat global warming. There are a large number of ways you could combat global warming, one of the largest being using renewable energy sources. One of the many popular ways that people have been doing to use renewable energy sources is installing solar panels to their home as instead of using their dependence on energy. Installing solar panels is a great renewable energy source as they have efficiency between 15 to 20%. They emit zero carbon emissions, making them very environmentally friendly, and they also have a low maintenance cost and are great for the planet. Another renewable energy source is biomass energy. Using biomass energy means the burning of natural or once living things such as wood, corn, and soy. Biomass energy is widely available and reduces our reliance on fossil fuels. Simple actions can be taken to reduce our carbon emissions, such as reducing our dependence of transportation that relies on fossil fuels. It's so simple to walk to work, bike to work, or even carpool instead of constantly using your own car every day for transportation. Different means of transportation are not only good for your budget, but are very good for the environment. Another thing humans can do to offset carbon emissions is incorporate more plants into their lifestyle. You don't need to go completely meat-free, but incorporating more plants into your diet can help decrease the need for mass production. Eating organic foods can also help the environment. According to the Help Guide, organic farming practices may reduce pollution, conserve water, reduce soil erosion, increase soil fertility, and lose less energy. Farming without synthetic pesticides is also better for nearby birds and animals and for those living around farms. Not only are organic foods better for the environment, but they are fresher and richer in nutrients. It would also be beneficial to give back to the planet by growing your own food and striving for reforestation. Although climate change is inevitable, we must adapt to these conditions. Humans must prepare for the worst. We must conserve food and water and be more mindful about our everyday decisions and how they affect our homes. We must protect ourselves from any natural disaster that is bound to happen. Many suggest that in order to avoid the worst, we need to reach zero net emissions, which is balancing the net emissions being produced by those being taken out by 2050 or sooner. Today, I discussed the causes for climate change, then I reviewed their effects on the planet and all living things living on them. Then I covered some solutions to combat global warming. The rapid speed of the climate changing is a direct result of human activity, and through efforts to reduce global warming, can we fight it and preserve the earth. So speak up about climate change and participate in one of the many ways that we can help to reduce global warming. This is our only home, and we must keep the earth healthy as we won't be getting another home soon.